Today on Packaged Food Gourmet, we're doing something a little different. We're going to scour the internet for the worst rated brownie recipe we can find and then make it. The purpose of this experiment is not to shame or blame the recipe's creator. This is a discovery mission to find out what went wrong and see if there's any way to take a sad brownie and make it better. The hunt for the worst recipe was actually more challenging than expected because most sites don't allow you to filter by rating. But eventually we landed on AllRecipes.com and painstakingly scrolled through to the bottom and found Wicked Brownies by J. Spencer, 2.5 stars. I knew after reading the ingredient ratios and reviews that this was going to be an adventure. Do you enjoy baking adventures too? If you do, please take a minute to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel so you can check out our new videos every Thursday at 2 p.m. Pacific Time. The highest ranked 1-star review for this recipe says, "The only thing that was wicked was my temper after wasting ingredients to make a dry, dull, flavorless brownie. Don't do it." Reviewer Nancy was also unimpressed but saw a bright side and wrote, "I must have done something very wrong, but fortunately I like biscotti." Some bakers don't seem sure what to think. Ring141 gave the recipe 5 stars but wrote, "I'm sorry, but this is not a good recipe. The batter was very thick, and when done baking, it was very dry and heavy. I even baked it less than it said. It did have a shiny top, though. Is Ring confused or just a huge fan of shiny tops? Guess we'll never know." Even the highest ranking 5-star review is actually a critical review in disguise. SpongeBob7, ever the optimist, says, "This recipe is missing 1 stick of butter. Most brownie recipes for a 9x13-inch pan use 2 sticks of butter. Hope this helps." I think SpongeBob is onto something, but I'm going to make the recipe with no alterations and see how it turns out. At the same time, I'm going to make a modified version that I think will help give it a more pleasing flavor and texture. Let's get started. Jay's recipe starts out fine with the oven preheated to 375 degrees Fahrenheit and half a cup of butter melted in a saucepan. Once the butter is melted, it says to remove it from the heat and add in half a cup of unsweetened cocoa. Personally, I would have microwaved the butter and just added everything to the same bowl, but this works. What doesn't work for me are the ratios for the next ingredients. 2 cups of sugar and 4 eggs. That's a lot of eggs and sugar for the amount of butter and cocoa we have. For my version, I'll be keeping the butter and cocoa ratio the same, but using Dutch processed cocoa for a darker and richer taste and reducing the sugar and eggs by half. Now that those are mixed together, it looks like we're done with the wet ingredients. Wait, where's the vanilla? There's no vanilla? Seriously? Oh, Jay, why you gotta do me like this? Ugh. Okay, moving on. The dry ingredients are 2 1/4 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and half a teaspoon of salt. Once again, I think it's the ratios that are off here. That much baking powder and flour account for the bland dryness and cakey texture described in the reviews. For my version, we're adding a teaspoon of vanilla and reducing the flour dramatically. Just a half a cup will be enough to give the brownie structure but keep them fudgy. Reducing the baking powder to half a teaspoon will stop them from rising too much and becoming cakey. I'm also reducing the salt to just under half a teaspoon. Not gonna lie, mixing Jay's batter was quite the ordeal. Pretty sure I can skip my arm workout today. She is thick.
We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. I'm not giving up. I'm trying for you, Jay. I'm gonna prove them all wrong. Okay.
Now to get it into the greased baking dish, somehow. This has more like a cookie dough texture and does not like to spread. Okay, that's the best I can do. The instructions say to bake it for 35 minutes, so we'll do that and see what we get. While we wait for those to bake, I'm going to pour my other batter into a prepared baking dish. That was definitely easier, which is good because my arms are still tired. Once the first batch is done baking, I'm reducing the oven temperature to 350 and baking these ones for 30 minutes. Alright, here we have our 2 trays of brownies. Let's cut them up. Well, these are a little tough to get through on the edges. I'm gonna go for the middle instead. There we go. You know, they look pretty good. kind of like one of those oversized grocery store brownies. The ratio adjusted version is a little bit smaller, but also more tender. Now for the fun part. Let's do a taste test. I have 2 brownies for you to try.
Ooh, brownies. I'll try the thick boy.
All right, thick boy. Joaquin would also like some brownie.
Of course you would. Okay, so this one, it's like a little bit dry.
Okay.
The flavor's not terrible, like it needs more chocolate.
Okay.
And it's pretty sweet. But, I mean, brownies are usually pretty sweet, so.
It's true.
This one's definitely like a lot softer and chewier. But overall, like the texture experience is a lot better, and it's definitely less sweet than this one.
Gotcha. All right, so what we have here is the big thick boy is the worst reviewed brownie on allrecipes.com.
Okay.
And the other one is me taking the same recipe and just doing a few little tweaks to see if I can make it a little bit better, but not changing it drastically.
Choose this one just because of like the texture and the chewiness, and it's like more of what you'd want in a brownie, where this one kind of is like, it's not like quite cakey, but it's, I don't know, it's just like it kind of misses the mark, you know?
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, thanks for the brownies.
No problem. Let us know in the comments if there are any recipes you'd like us to check out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.